Check out thechosenprime.com in the link in the description below for this and other great items.
Alright everyone, welcome to another Radio Free Cybertron review, RFC Reviews. I'm your host Diecast, and today we have Fans Toys. What number is he? FT-18 Lupus, which is their not Weirdwolf from the Headmaster series. And just to go in a little detail to let you guys know where I am right now doing this review, I have just come off the high of reviewing Sovereign, which I absolutely love. It's probably going to be my favorite figure of 2017. We got a lot of Fans Toys releases to come out, but that's just how I feel right now as of this recording. And Lupus is definitely not Sovereign. There's just no two ways about it. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at his packaging. Get Lupus out of the way right here. And there you have his box with his little Headmaster, him, and the Wolf mode. And on the back, have product shot of Robot mode and Wolf mode. Fans Toys, some writing on that if you want to read it. Totally up to you. On the bottom you just get some Lupus, and you see a wolf howling in the background, which is nice. I like that art. Really nice. But your normal Fans Toys packaging. And then inside you do get a collector's card. And this one is just as thin as Sovereign's. So I guess this is just their style card. It's been a while. You know, the Fans Toys releases take a little bit of time. So here's some tech specs and his bio. If you choose to read it. And there we have the packaging. And also you do get an optional head. This head is the one that comes on the figure, and it's a little bit more human-esque, I guess I should say. And then the head I have on the figure is the optional head, which looks really nice, I think. I really like that head on him. And then you get his sword, which is also going to double as his tail. Just like that. You can see there is a little paint wearing off inside there. Just from, this is a very tight rotation, and that silver paint's just wearing off. So, not a big deal. Still looks good. Just something to be aware of. And then you put it in his hand. Holds it real nice like. Then he also has his gun, which is, you know, got some nice detail. It's this dark greenish, all solid piece of plastic. And he also has, you can just slot that in on his hand for him to hold it. There we go. It just didn't want to slot in. I really like when you can pose the thumb on the side so it actually looks like he's actually holding it, as opposed to putting his thumb down. You can see the hands will loosen up and stuff will fall out every once in a while. Just the nature of the beast. Okay, and let's go ahead and get right down into it. I'll take a quick look of Lupus. Some nice silver paint on here. You open this door up, there's a little nudge at the top so you can get your finger in there. And you get your tech specs. So you got speed, strength, and intelligence. Apparently he's very intelligent. You get some nice green on here. And you get the darker green, some yellow here, which doesn't look bad, but you probably could have used another layer of paint. But obviously a lot better than what we get from some other places. And this is another weird kind of part to me because the foot, let me see if I can get that in there. This is the die cast, which has this yellow metallic to it, and this is the plastic, which has which is just plain yellow. There's no fleck in it. It's not painted. It's just yellow plastic. So the foot looks a little off. Not bad enough that I would throw the figure out, but just something to be mindful of. As far as rotation, his arms are on a nice ratcheted rotation. He can do a full 360. He can only go out about this far, which is one of the biggest problems on this figure, especially when you have this area on the side to slide his cockpit, I guess you could say, or the area the Headmaster is going to sit in wolf mode. Right there. I mean, if they could have put a little bit more of a joint on this, you could have had easier access to the sliding piece, which kind of brings me up to my next point while we have it on the camera. There's a gap there. There's no way to get this slid up any further, so I don't know why this couldn't have been filled in. This just seems like sloppy planning. And it's weird that I'm saying that on a Fans Toys figure, especially this late in the game and especially coming off Sovereign. And I understand this was released before Sovereign, but I got them at the same time, and Sovereign was the one I opened first. So a lot of this is, I guess, due to my own fault, but that's just where this figure is right now. The other thing that doesn't make sense is this piece up here, because it moves literally like, that's how much it moves. I don't understand why that's even a feature, or if it was meant to move, it should probably move a little bit more than that. And then I just noticed there is some little bit of dirt on that piece. But yeah, super confusing. Like, am I supposed to just, is that like wolf mode and this is robot mode, or I don't understand. Obviously most people are just going to leave it like this at all times, which looks better because you don't have a gap right there, but I don't understand why that piece needs to move. And I really don't understand why this arm can't go out any further. They could have easily manufactured, I don't know, it's so bad. It's not typical Fans Toys. I don't know if this was a different designer. I don't know what's going on, but I'm very, very underwhelmed. We'll go back into articulation on this guy. He does have rotation right above the elbow, and then he does have a double jointed elbow, but he can only go a little bit more, like, he can barely get a little bit more than 90 degrees. This is probably one of the worst articulations of any figure that I've ever done, and it just seems weird that it's a Fans Toys figure. The waist it's not ratcheted, but it does have some rotation in it. And then these little side skirts can come up, so you can get full forward. Back, you can go about that far. And to the side, it's friction, but it holds really nice. So that's okay. I like that. I like you can get whatever ache stance you want. But the feet are a little bit limited in their ankle tiltage. So you can only get about that far without having to then lose some stability in the figure. And because of his heft, especially up here, because there is a lot of die cast up here. This area is all die cast, that it's a heavy figure. So to not have the ankle tiltage that you need on this thing really limits, again, the posability of it. But he can still pose decently. It's just not the best. Again, I know people were complaining that his feet weren't flat, and that these pieces were sticking out. Mine are only sticking out about a hair. So that's not an issue on my figure. I don't know. I think what it is when you take this wolf leg out, if you just... there's a joint right there. So if you don't have this perfectly straight, you can have it where this foot's sticking out a little bit. So you want to make sure you get that perfectly straight before you bring this back. And then the heel, the foot here, I don't know what the official transformation is. If you're supposed to leave this down for a heel, I mean, you can if you want. On mine, he balances enough that I like to just curl that up and give it more of a natural stance. Or, you know, I mean, those heels just kind of look silly to me. So that's it. Just whatever you prefer. It's your toy. Do what you want. And foot articulation, like I say, you can get a lot of back. And forward, you can get a little bit of forward. You just got to raise this piece right here to get forward. But you don't get much from side to side. So, then all we have to do is the knee. So you get a double. There's actually two joints right there, so you can get, and this panel just kind of goes a little bit, it'll fold in basically. Straighten that out. Yeah, I really don't like that this panel doesn't really have anything to peg into on the back, but sorry about that. You do get the double jointed knee and the rotation at the top of the thigh, which is good. Your foot can also rotate a little bit if that helps you at all, but that's just due to transformation. And then the head, you can only get up about that much, and you can get down a pretty good amount, so he can look down. And he can do a full 360 with his head. So, and to pop the face off, if you want to put the other face on, you just come down here and wiggle it, and eventually you can see it kind of gets stuck in between these two pieces right there, but those are the two holes that hold the face in, and then you just pop the new face in. So there's no screws, nothing like that. That's always a plus to me. And I like how the visor is a brighter shade of red than the face. So, again, I think he looks great. The articulation on this thing is just killer, and really felt kind of rushed with that gap. And we'll get into the other gaps because, I mean, you can see there's a cutout right here for his head. If I get his foot out of the way. There's a cutout right here for his head, but his head can't even fit in that cutout because the cockpit, you can't get it pushed far enough in that the head can go all the way in. You can see that gap right there, which is just, it's sloppy design and really surprises me for Fans Toys, because I know the great designs that they can do, like Sovereign and like the Dinobots, and this just feels very underwhelming. It's a very simplistic transformation, let's go ahead, do a size comparison first before we transform him. Here he is with Fans Toys Hound. And let me see if I can get a Headmaster in here. Here he is with a deluxe Headmaster. Just for, not that you're going to pose these guys next to each other, but he's right there. So here he is with MP10, which they're pretty close to head, which I really like that. And then, of course, he'll fit in with the other Headmasters from Make Toys. Also, your Cupola and your other hardhead. I'm forgetting the name of him. But let's go ahead and get into transformation. Obviously, he's a Headmaster. The first thing you have to do here is pop off the head. And then we can take the wolf head and flip that around. And that will peg in right where the head pegged in. And the legs you can straighten out. And then we're going to open this panel right on the fist. Right on the forearm. And then make sure the thumb is in on this. Just like so. And then come to the back and you pull the wolf foot out, and then you have to get access to this little piece right in here where that tab is, and you pull this out. That kind of fills in the bottom part of the leg right there. Close it up, and then right up front, if you have everything lined up absolutely perfect, there's a slot right there that this will go into. And again, it has to be absolutely perfect. You can see one of the fingers was out of place, which kind of held it up. So there you go. And tabbed in. So same thing on the other side. Close up the fist. Open up the forearm panel. Flip this around. Come up here. Flip that out. And then flip in the hand. And then tab this all in. Just like so. So that's it. Now, other than sliding up this piece, which is god awful, slide that up right there. If you can reach it from both sides. I am very lucky. Mine actually clicks into place a little bit. It doesn't fall down as easy as some other people's. But I must say, in handling it, I have pushed it down by mistake. So in here you do get a nice little steering wheel. And a Nintendo controller, which is always nice. That's a big thing right now. You always need your Nintendo controllers. So you can up, down, left, right, A, B, select, start. To your heart's content. Then you just take your Headmaster, take a quick look at him. He's just got red face with some yellow eyes, just a little bit. Silver body, green legs, green arms. His legs do tab together. He does have ankle tilts, which he can get a much wider stance than Lupus can. So, yeah, his Headmaster showing him up. So, I don't know the name of the Headmaster. I don't know if Fans Toys named him or not. I'm looking through the instructions real quick, and it mentions Lupus, but it doesn't mention anything about its Headmaster. So, yeah. He's no name. His head does get in the way of arm rotation. You can't really get his arm fully extended straight because of the head sculpt. So, kind of disappointing. kind of wish they would have cut a little bit more off of this, maybe off the top, just so he could get a full straight on rotation. But again, it's the Headmaster. It's not horrible. It just could have been better. No head rotation on the Headmaster, and the legs obviously just have about 90-degree bend. So now we're going to try and get him in there, and this is another frustrating part, because in there you can see there's some plastic in the way, and you have to get his legs right in between, which takes a little bit of doing. And that time I got lucky. That was a lot easier than some other times. And then you can bring that steering wheel down a little bit, however you want, and then you see the Nintendo controller. So close that up. It doesn't tab or latch, but he should be like this, so it should hold just fine. So now we're just going to come down to the legs, and we're going to open up this back panel right here, flip in this panel like that, and you can start bringing this whole piece around like that. You can pull his leg out, and then we're going to flip this piece in, and now you just rotate this up, and you have to make sure that you rotate up this joint first, and then you can rotate the second joint in his leg. Just like that. Bring this panel up and push that in. And as you can see, there is a tab right here on the side of this piece, which looks like it would go in right there because there's a hole there, but it doesn't go in. There's no way to collapse this to get that to go in, which is another, you know, if it was there in the original design, why wouldn't you take that out and take this peg off? You still could have left this piece, you know, static, and it would have given a little bit of rotation in the wolf. So that's another reason why this figure feels rushed to me. Last thing you want to do on this leg is we're just going to push that piece down. Just like that. So this leg's going to be the same as the other side. I'll flip that around. Pull out the claw and the leg. Rotate that piece around. And bring this up. Make sure you do this hinge first. And then this piece can rotate down. And then they tab in together right there on the inside. And before you do that, if you want to slot the tail into it. And not only the tail, but on the bottom here, there's a little place that you can store his gun. And then you squeeze all that together, just like so. Rotate his leg down and rotate this piece up to the side. And as you can see, there, I just clicked it down, as you will do when you're transforming this. If those pegs weren't there, he could have a little bit more rotation in his waist for wolf mode. So it's kind of sad that they didn't take those pegs off and get them out of the way. It's like a torture device for the poor Headmaster, because this thing comes down and then he starts getting crushed, and not really a good thing. But here you have the wolf mode. And again, I don't hate it. It's not the greatest, and his back half is definitely a lot larger than his front half, which shouldn't be. But the robot mode looks good. So honestly, or obviously, we know where the designer was going with this. It was robot mode first, and wolf mode second. You still do get a little articulation in the arms, but it's not much. You get a lot more ankle tilt in the paw that you're not going to need, just because he can't even put his arms out that far. Same thing on the back here. You get a little bit of tilt, but at least here on the back legs you can kind of the limitation, it's still limited articulation, just because of the way that's designed. It's not bad. It doesn't feel like it's gonna break, but it could have been better. That's the whole theme of this figure, is like, it could have been better. Now, the one thing I do think is excellent is the way they did the head. Not the sculpt. I mean, a lot of people don't like that. It's really tight trying to open the mouth, and those teeth are sharp. You can get it open about that much, maybe a little bit more, but I don't want to press on it anymore because he just took a bite out of me. Leave it open a little bit, though. Yeah, it's not... It's a little bit less wolf-like than I would have liked for the head. But again, he can look down that much, and by having this extra joint on the center here, that means he can rotate his head any way you want him to, which is really cool. So you can get him looking up, you can get him looking to the side. Like, yeah, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? But, yeah, I really like the articulation out of the head on this guy. Everything else is not that great, but his wolf head articulation is excellent, and feels really solid, and I like that you have the, looks good. They didn't sacrifice the looks for the articulation. Like, it's not just a ball peg that you move his head around on. You get this really nice piece coming out when you rotate the neck, so there's no holes or anything like that. So I really do like that and appreciate that. But this figure does feel extremely rushed. Those tabs not tabbing in is just, it's really not acceptable. And I hate to say that. I love the Fans Toy stuff, and I love this figure. I love the look of it, I should say. But there are just some things that really needed some tweaking before the final release, and it's really sad that this is a final release, because this figure could have been so much better. They could have slimmed down the legs just a little bit, so you didn't have such a big back section compared to the front section on this. I mean, he would have looked okay if his legs were slimmed down a little bit. And then this gun placement is just funny. It's if it was a tank or something, I guess it wouldn't be bad, or a vehicle. But doing this on a wolf, there's just some wrongness to it, which makes me laugh. So, but I know I'm a little inappropriate at times. So, but there you have Lupus, and if you want to pick him up, make sure you go down to the link in the description below for the Chosen Prime, where you can pick up your own Lupus. And if you're not a Headmaster fan, I would definitely say this would be one to skip. But if you are a Headmaster fan, I don't think we have a Masterpiece style Weirdwolf. We've gotten so many other Headmasters recently, but nothing for Weirdwolf other than the Fans Project, which is not Masterpiece by any means. So again, oh, I forgot the wolf tail. You can rotate his wolf tail however you want also. So you can even put it in between his legs. If he did something wrong and he's scared and you're out to hit him, there you go. You got the bad articulation. But yeah, there you go. And thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time.